Hey everybody, this is Johnny Vaz there from Leonard Skinner. You're watching Directions of the Heart with Mike Aloia and Pete DeLorenzo. On American Hearts Radio.
When the lights come down and I leave the stage, it's you that makes it all worthwhile. When the lights come down and I leave the stage, it's you that makes it all worthwhile.
Welcome to the Direction of the Heart WebTV discussion series. I'm your host, Mike Aloia, along with my brother, Pete DeLorenzo, out of New Jersey. How you doing, Pete?
Good, Mike.
We've got Nino De Santis, and we've had some problems with his video, but I know that his information is so important. We've got to get it on the show, so that's why we've got the silhouette up there and photo of Nino. I've heard a lot of. You don't see it now because it ain't edited in there.
Okay.
But anyway, Pete, go ahead and give us a little bit of introduction about Nino and where he's from and what they're doing, a little briefing. But I'd like Nino to get pretty in depth about what they're doing. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I actually met Nino through a colleague of mine, Joseph Rummel, a wonderful Christian man from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I believe you're from Montreal, right, Nino? Montreal?
That's right.
Yeah, Montreal, Canada. And Nino can tell you better than I, but I have just been flabbergasted, if you will, overwhelmed with the amazing genius of this man. And he can fill you in about years ago how he tried to present this. And, you know, people don't listen. They don't pay attention, blinded by the evils of money, power, and greed. But what Nino has more or less come up with, and he is CEO and founder of his company, is mixing alcohol with gasoline, correct, Nino?
Well, we actually have flex fuel.
Yeah, it's flex
Either
fuel,
one.
alcohol and water, I believe. And there's a clip which we'll probably include at the end of this segment where Nino actually shows him drinking water from the engine of a car. And you could see that, you know, as it comes out, it gets clearer and it is drinkable. And this is revolutionizing all our energy, how we would fuel our homes, our cars, and would just revolutionize and plentiful for, you know, so many people, as opposed to, you know, what we deal with oil and gasoline and the corruption of all of it. And Nina, I'm going to turn over to you because you could explain it far better. But he has a wealth of information to impart.
So that everybody could know, on YouTube, we have me drinking water. It's titled Free Distilled Drinking Water from Your Car. Mm-hmm. That's on YouTube. You just have to put the title, Free Distilled Drinking Water from Your Car Tailpipe. Mm-hmm. And the way that works...
You have that on your Facebook page, too, I saw. Yeah.
Yes, but on YouTube, it's available to anyone a lot easier. Where you can just put the title, Free Distilled Drinking Water from Your Car. But to give everybody a history of what and how we do this, in 1979 in Miami, Florida, we were on the front page of the Miami Herald for converting a police car, an official police car in Hollywood, Florida. Mm-hmm. And the front page of the car said, police car doubles the mileage with alcohol and water injection, but can it drive straight? It was a joke to think that cars could run on alcohol, because in those days, back in 1979, alcohol was for drinking. And nobody was thinking about putting it in the cars, even though Brazil had already been running on alcohol from sugarcane for years. They converted the cars, and Volkswagen actually started that. So what we actually did at that time, we were a race car company converting cars for races. And when we saw the oil embargo, we got involved on the commercial side, and we did a demonstration with the police department to get some credibility which we got. Actually, Quaker State of Florida, the franchisee, became our distributor, and we actually sold thousands of units to everybody, to car dealers, General Motors, Ford, up until the mid-'80s when the computer came into the picture. And when the computer came into the engine, you had to have the passwords or the code to do the adjustments that we needed to do. So that sort of put a big block on our progress. And it wasn't until the mid-'90s that the car companies came out with flex fuel, whereby you can burn either the E85, which is 85% ethanol, 15% gasoline. In our case, we're 100% ethanol and water injection. Now, the water injection is a turbo race car principle. Been around for 50 years, used on the Mustang fighter plane during the Second War for 300 extra horsepower. Water turns to steam. So when you put water, it's no longer water. The moment that it goes in the combustion chamber, it expands 2,000 times. So you get a burst of power. This year, in fact, BMW just came out with another water injection system on one of their BMWs, again for power, even though they showed an 8% increase in mileage. But they're concentrating like we used to with the race cars and power versus us. We're the first to actually go because of the United Nations Climate Change Convention, which we attended originally. I was an NGO, non-governmental official, under the first climate change convention in Geneva, Switzerland, in 1994. And at that time, we were converting the cars, and we developed what Jimmy Carter originally started after the oil embargo, the proper crop, because corn is not the proper crop, or sugarcane that's limited to Brazil, Florida, Louisiana, or Hawaii, versus sweet sorghum grows anywhere corn grows, but it gives you the three products. It gives you the juice inside that sucrose makes fuel ethanol. The outside, once it's separated with special machines that we have, you can have lumber. You can build one house per acre. And then the flour top is grain where you get 2 tons of food. So it answers all of the potential for all the poor countries around the world. Then I spent a year in Dubai with the Arabs, where I was a guest speaker for the first Middle East oil and gas alternative energy convention in Dubai. Everybody thinks the Arabs are against the renewable. Actually, the World International Renewable Fuels Association is in Abu Dhabi, and they built a city called Masdar that has no CO2, all solar. They got the best of the Olympic green technologies. They got the money to buy it, and they got the money to build the city, which they did. In our case, they said, you're handicapped in our technology, which is why I didn't win with them. They said, you need water, and water in some countries, and especially in the desert, is more precious than oil. So I had to come back and design a new patent to collect the water from the air that goes in the combustion. Just like your air conditioning, there's side effects that create water. If you ever watch your muffler, you'll see water dripping out. And that's because every engine has got what they call 14.7 air going into the engine and only one fuel. In other words, 14.7 ratio of fuel air. That air, when it hits the combustion chamber, it creates 1.4 gallons of water per gallon of fuel. This means that you're getting more water out of your car than the fuel you put in because of the air. And we've been wasting water for 50 years coming out of the tailpipe in California and so many places. Oh, we got no more water. And you got it. It's in your car. So what we did is we collected it from the tailpipe muffler. We put a curve, we put a tank under the car, a bathtub type situation. And we had so much water, more water than we need, because we only need a gallon for a full tank of fuel. So we said, wow, what are we going to do? We're not going to waste all this extra water. So we added a reverse osmosis filter, and that's what you see me drinking, is that we said, my God, not only are we operating the car on an alternative renewable fuel that's got all these beautiful byproducts, but now we got free drinking water, because if you think about it, distilled drinking water is not cheap.
Amazing.
So now you got the water from your car, you got clean air, and you got jobs for the farmers worldwide. And now we just added a new program this week for the stock market that nobody in history has ever done. Instead of buying lotto tickets that everybody's dreaming about becoming rich, I'll buy a lotto ticket, but you're 1 in a million to win. So we are making the first marketing strategy for every gallon of what we call alcohol fuel that you buy in our coming Flex Fuel franchise stations. We're going to give you one coupon of a stock option on the futures green market, which is the future. Like there's no future market for the oil. The oil, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, they've all pulled their money out of oil because they know that in the future, everything is going to be more or less solar, windmills, electric cars. And in our case, we're the used car market, which is 80% of the world. So we let the new car companies make the new cars, and Tesla, the electric car, and all of those nice hybrids. That's fine. That's only 20% of the market. We have 80%. Your car, everybody's car, we're able to convert in 2 hours, and we're putting the kits on free. Just like the telephone companies give you cell phones free with a 2-year contract, 2 or 3 year contract. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put the kit on every car free of charge, but we need to get you to have a 3-year, 2-year at least fuel supply, which will give you at a discount price almost equivalent to gasoline, but you're going to get the stock option, which is worth 10 times more than cheap gasoline, where you're saving 10 cents. You're going to be making, the last time we went on the stock market in 2010 on Earth Day, we specifically just did a trial on that day because we figured we get free publicity and advertising from the newspaper that are looking for Earth Day stories. Our stock went up 600% in one day. Now you can imagine if 1 million people are using this. Did you say something there?
Are you there? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's absolutely phenomenal.
It's mind-blowing. I tell you, Mike, it's mind-blowing. And you remember when we had Richard Nelson on, what he's doing with the solar and with the agropods and growing, organic food. This is mind-blowing what Nino has done. And Nino, I recall when we first...
He needs to be up there. He needs to be up there at the Global Humanitarian Summit.
Well, he already spoke at the UN, as he told you way back, and the Geneva conference. And these people were like blind and didn't listen. And I was like, appalled, and yet it didn't surprise me that people.
When will these
learn?
When will these stations be available to where people can have their cars and vehicles converted, and how much does it cost to have that done?
Well, like I mentioned, we're putting the kits on free, just like they give you a free cell phone to get you for the fuel supply. The problem we're having right now, I'm in Canada, where the reason I'm in Canada, I was in Florida for 12 years, California for 5 years. In the times that I was in California back in the 1994, they were promoting the electric cars. So I had this ego thing, electric car versus they didn't like us. The hydrogen people didn't like us. It's sort of a jealous competition. It's everyone.
I recall we had monthly conversations on the phone, and you just blew me away. And I said, when we finally get you on the show, I wanted you to bring that out. And I remember you telling me how, even offered this to police departments on their cars. Germany, like, we had that years ago with Hitler.
Hold on a second, Pete.
People don't want to learn.
What's the name of your company?
Aquahol, AQUAHOL, Aquahol Injection Inc. Aquahol Injection Inc.
These service stations are only in Canada right now, correct?
No, we haven't been able to open we're having a big fight with the oil industry in Canada. That's why I'm here. The oil tar sand. Now there's a new government, so I came trying to get the new government, which so far
your whole objective is to get this into the market somehow and be available in the States and Canada, and you're fighting roadblocks every step of the way. It sounds like.
Oh, absolutely. Since I attended the first climate change convention in 1994 in Geneva, Switzerland, I confronted the United States government back there because way back then, we're talking 1994, the oil companies, they weren't willing to even consider. And Jimmy Carter had signed already in 1980 the Alcohol Energy Security Act after I did the police department. But we had a fight and a battle with the oil people. The congressman of Miami, Florida, Congressman Dante Fascell, got the Department of Justice to conduct an investigation on their antitrust against the oil companies. But they beat up Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter got thrown out. Then Canada, in 1996, the Prime Minister of Canada signed the Alternative Fuels Act. So he tried, and I came to Canada back then, and I said, well, maybe I can get Canada. But they beat him up. And now another government And just last week, they had a big meeting. The oil people, which is the tar sands, is the worst in the world. It's like 3 times more pollution because it's tar. You got to squeeze the tar out of the sand to make oil. Meanwhile, the Arabs have killed everybody with cheap.
Has your company presented this to the Obama administration?
Oh yeah, we've presented to all of the governments since 1980. Like I'm saying,
and you get turned down every step of the way.
Well, actually, what happened is the United Nations Trade and Development New Commodities Report of 1994 recommended our technology. When I attended the UN meeting, I actually won. I convinced the UN. They said, okay, we're going to recommend your technology, and we're even going to help you, and we're going to send you to the countries with a red carpet. So the first country they sent me to was France, because France had the Renault French car that was owned by the government. So they said, you'll probably be able to get the car company owned by the government. When I got there, the government said, well, they're privatizing it. I know it was going to become a private company. So they sent me to Peugeot, the French car. And Peugeot says, listen, we're not going to do something revolutionary like this. So then they send me to the Netherlands, to Holland, land of windmills, Holland.
I was just thinking here. I mean, there's a lot of visionaries and people in the private sector, such as Flux, the guy that does Tesla cars, and Richard Branson and people like that. SpaceX technology. Have you approached those type of companies and corporations?
Yeah, originally Richard Branson offered $10 million to anybody who could come up with an invention and solution. So we approached him right away, sent him all the technology. They answered us saying, well, this is not within our scope. And then the Tesla electric car. And let me explain to you why, in our opinion, according to the history behind it. The real inventor of the flex fuel car, what we're doing now, was Henry Ford himself on the Model T. He had a manual flex fuel system. Steam was before him. So when he designed his Model T in the history book, it could operate on alcohol or gasoline, but it also had a water drip system to make steam. Rockefeller came to see Henry Ford and he said, listen, buddy, he said, be satisfied with a car industry, but don't be greedy and want 2 industries where you want to have the energy industry and the car industry, because you and I will have a war and I'll win. I'll crush you.
Wow. Separation of industry.
Heavy duty, right, Mike? Heavy duty.
So Ford backed up. Now, ever since then, that lesson to people like Richard Branson, Bill Gates, and Tesla, any of these guys, you go up against the oil companies, buddy, you're liable to lose everything you have, because these guys, they'll crucify you. Now, a guy like me, I'm like a missionary. Like, I got nothing to lose because I have nothing. I got the patents, but I'm not a millionaire like Richard Branson.
Mission from God, just like us.
I'm telling you, and he's a good Christian man, Nino.
I've even had, when I did the police department, I had a threatening phone call. I mean, I was on the front page of the Miami Herald.
This is what I wanted you to bring out.
So somebody called me and says, hey, they said, don't you know that you could get killed? And I said, yes. I said, but don't you know that on all the armies of the world, there's soldiers on the front line willing to die for that little flag of their country? I said, I'm not willing to die for any flag because I haven't found one without blood. I said, but for this cause, I'm willing to die. So the guy hangs up the phone. Then about an hour later, my wife gets a call, and they tell her this: if you don't get your husband to stop, we're going to cut you in 1,000 little pieces and put you in gutters and garbage, and like the movie of The Godfather, instead of cutting the head of the horse, they chose one of her favorite cats and they just shaved the hair. They didn't even kill the cat. And they left the door of the house open. They left the door of my car open. So it was like they let you know how easy it is for us to get you. But the problem is, you get a guy like me, just like these guys that are willing to die because they're terrorists, but they're willing to die for their whatever. I'm willing to die for this cause, and I believe that the real Godfather, not the Italian Godfather, protects me, and Jesus Christ is always there saving my life. You know, it's like I'm still alive, and I'm 70 years old. You know, so I'm supposed to be dead.
God bless you, Nino.
You know, that's why I have such a high respect for you, that since the day I was introduced to you through Joseph, I could clearly see and know you're a humble man and your heart and for any man to want to die for any cause. But you and I had in-depth conversation about our Lord, and you try to put good into the world, and there's always going to be someone that's going to try and stomp it out. And I've used the metaphor many times, like when you plant fresh grass and you put that little rope around it so nobody steps on it, so the seed could grow. And there's always some guy or somebody that goes over there and wants to step on it and destroy it. Or an anthill. You see ants. Amazing that God created these little ants that carry these big twigs on their backs and build these sand hills, and somebody goes and steps on them. So you see, and the good that you're trying to do, and they did that to our Lord. They've done it to others that have tried to put good into the world. We're a threat to society. It's all about money, power, and greed.
What do you think? Nino? What do you think it's going to take for your technology and your vision to actually become a reality? Where we will have these types of stations across our nation as well as Canada and in different countries. What type of act of God will it take, since it seems as though your opposition, it's a wall that you can't penetrate?
Well, in a way, they lost. Like now, 2 months ago in Paris at the COP21, this COP21 is 21 years later of what I attended in COP1, let's say. It happened, just like the cigarette companies. If you would have told your grandfather there's going to be a day where you won't be allowed to smoke cigarettes in public building, he would have laughed at you. Well, 2 months ago in Paris, all of the world agreed, and even the oil people agreed, the Arabs agreed that, okay, we've got to phase out fossil fuel for transportation. We'll keep it for petrochemicals. 80% of the products are plastic. So it's not like you got to go out of business. The oil people are fine with the petrochemical industry. So the transportation, oil and gas, is a small division compared to petrochemicals. So everyone knows, and they've agreed, and that's why I said the Arabs have already put their money into the future. That's where
what blows my mind, Nino, is we're having problems in California with drought. We're having problems in Flint, Michigan with the poisonings in other states as well. That's really ain't hitting big news. And, for the United States not to adopt this technology and try to introduce it into natural society and give people that opportunity and choice is absolutely absurd and ridiculous.
Agree.
And whoever and whatever lobbyists, what oil, they all need to wake the hell up, because, I think it's going to take some type of awakening, and maybe this is the beginning of it. And God willing, he'll be able to see you through your whole battle.
See, you hit the key, Mike, is that God will make a way. Because as far as man goes, and like Nino brought out, death threats, ignorance, closed minds, all about greed, money, power. What Nino is doing, genius that he is revolutionizing the way we can heat our homes, fuel our cars, all of these things. And same as Rick Nelson with the agropods, and same as many other aspects. They're polluting our air, polluting our water, our food, and I used an example. That I could drive down the New Jersey Turnpike here, and just in one area, in one state, you see oil refinery after oil refinery, and there's so much oil, and yet the prices go up. All of a sudden, the gas went cheaper, and it's the games they play, and the oil from other countries. Whereas this would help people, and their ignorance turns it away. And like you said, a wall that can't be penetrated, but it can, and God is the one that can open the door.
Nino, give us your insight for what you expect to happen here in the near future, and what your objective is, your next step, and also give people the information that they can get in contact with you as well.
Well, what I think is going to happen, and what also encouraged me all these years, from the time I was 27 to now 70, is I had a woman in Florida that had the gift of prophecy, and she could say what could happen, and she actually said a lot of things that happened. And she said, poor countries will become your best friend. And I couldn't understand that until the World Bank Global Environmental Facility and the UN green funds just came out now. Like, for example, the poor countries in Paris 2 months ago, everybody agreed that the rich countries are going to put up $100 billion a year for the poor countries because they don't have money to develop. So I can see that the poor countries are going to be my best friend now that they've agreed to do that. Meanwhile, the rich countries, because of the Arabs and because I was a guest speaker with the first Middle East Oil and Gas Alternative Convention, they're going to invest to continue to make money because they don't care if they make money with black or white energy. As long they got the money, they're not stupid. I met them. I lived there for a year with them, and they're going to be our first investors on the stock market. I'm assured of that. So now, finally, because of this, COP21 was actually a miracle. And some of your biggest movie stars were there. Arnold Schwarzenegger was there. He made big speeches. Leonardo DiCaprio is the ambassador for the United Nations. They all went over there and talked above and beyond President Obama and everybody else. Everybody agreed, and the Arabs agreed. So it's here. Fortunately, for me, I'm still alive, amazingly, but it didn't matter to me. It's like when I looked at Charles Goodyear, he invented the pneumatic tire. He never sold a tire in his life. And after he died, Goodyear became the largest tire company in the world because in his days, he was going around telling people, hey, you can drive your car on 4 balloons. There was no air inside. The people, you crazy? Well, when I go around and I talk to people, put water in your car, you crazy? That reaction. So now, finally, that reaction, BMW did us a big favor this year when they introduced their beautiful new water injection kit. Car, which is our old technology patent. So it's happening now. Then as far as getting a hold of me, we have a 30-minute video that's available also on YouTube that's called Aquahal Tectane, Tectane. And you see the whole story from beginning to end. And then you see the United States government. You see Cornell University in New York. You see the farmers in New York, the farmers in Canada. They explain everything. You see the Ford car dealer. You see the financial people.
Very educational, too.
I tell you what, Nino, this is amazing technology. It's an amazing journey that you're on. And, I pray that everything comes into play in your vision. You'll see the day that this technology will be incorporated and people will be able to benefit from it. I do believe you're on a mission from God, and as we are here on American Hearts Radio Entertainment Network. I have
Mike, that he said that the poor people were open to it and want the help. The rich, they shun it because it's all about just greed. It's greed. Same as
something, Pete. It's weird how things happen, and it's weird how people react to certain things, and how people, like you said, the greed, the anger, the hatred, the power trip.
Alexander Graham Bell laughed at Thomas Edison.
Trying to block us every step.
They laughed at Steve Jobs.
It's all about timing, and it's in his time, but he uses us to carry the message and get it as far as we need to get it, or hopefully all the way. And leave a legacy, and I believe that's what you're going to do, Nino, is leave that legacy. And
well, actually, what I'm actually looking for at this age of my life, and in my video, I make it very clear. I've designed what I sort of call the solo technology to create 100 million jobs around the world. In other words, in poor countries, especially, and I could see why she predicted that. Okay. Instead of using automation with robots and everything is machines, I deliberately have people so that you have jobs. Right. So my goal at this stage with all of the poor countries, and I've already sold China and India to a group, and they will be able to create per country at least 100,000 jobs per project in the poor countries. Now, you can't do that in the rich country because we're spoiled here. You got to have tractors. You got to have all the automation. You can't ask people here to do hand labor. But in Africa and in Mexico and all these poor countries, they're going to be happy. And we're going to do something that nobody's ever done even any of the biggest companies and Bill Gates or anything, we're going to give them stock options above and beyond their salaries. They're going to get a house and a car. And the stock market people like this because, number one, you're going to, like Ford, part of his success was his employees were the first customers. And he financed the car to his employees, so he knew he was going to get paid. Every week he would take a little bit off their salary. So in our case, when we're hiring one person per acre, and our projects are 10,000 acres each, that means you got to hire 10,000 people per project. That means you need 10,000 houses and 10,000 cars.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Hey, Nino, check this out, brother. American Hearts Radio's here for you. You just let me know. We'll go out and document all this stuff and everything that goes down when the time is right.
It's the world as we speak right now on our show, and this is just amazing what this man is doing. Nino,
we'll come out there with video. I'll have. I see we add comedy and spice to all of our presentations. I'm going to do a humanitarian news flash about your technology. We're here on board with you, brother, and we'll make a lot of things happen. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
And we should put those two.
Let me just finish one clause of my mission statement in the company, in the corporation, that says, "We, the willing, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little that we're now qualified to do anything with nothing."
I love it. I remember when you said that to me on the phone. Can you say that again for all our viewers a little slower, because that is so profound, Nino?
We, the willing, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little that we are now qualified to do anything with nothing.
Wow. I mean, I got the chills. I am kidding you. That is profound. That is heavy duty. It is so, and right on the money. Right on the money.
God, Nino.
And we should, Mike, give those two YouTube that you gave again for our viewers, and Mike, we should pick up those and put them in at the end of this segment so our viewers can see.
Well, the first one to drink, number one, free drinking water. So the title in YouTube is "Free Distilled Drinking Water from Your Car," and that's like a 1 minute segment. The 30-minute video on YouTube is under Tectane, TECTANE. Aqua Hall. Aqua for water, hall for alcohol. Aqua Hall.
Okay, brother. I like
Aqua Hall.
I like talking about doing some some short video promos and stuff, and I'm gonna get some stuff and spread the word as well. Keep us informed on what's going on.
Well, when editing, we'll attach those clips. We should attach it because that would be excellent for the viewers to be able to see on our segment. And this is just mind-blowing. Nino, we are so honored to have had you today.
By the way, we even have a music video when you're saying...
Yeah. Do we have...
It says, "I want to breathe some clean air today." And it's done by...
Put that on billboards, bumper stickers, T-shirts, everything. And you have a website for our viewers? They can get you on Facebook. And
website is... aquahall-injection-inc.com.
Okay. That way they can go and look you up there as well.
Well, the website got all the history all the way back to the police department in 1980.
It's an amazing story. You should be writing a book about this.
Actually, I have the book, and now I'm trying to make a movie.
That was phenomenal.
That's where I can come in. Let's do it as a feature film or a documentary, Nino. I mean, this is a story that needs and must be told.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
In any way to
end having me.
And God bless you and your family. And this has been Direction of the Heart. Pete, I'll see you next time.
Complete honor having you, sir. And our prayers are with you. And we will talk again soon. God bless you.
God bless you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.